Today we're going to be talking about what creatine is, why you should be taking it, and why your baby should be taking it. And not just your babies, but your unborn babies. Hey everybody, I'm Zeke Fit Freak. Welcome to the place to create the best mind and best body you love. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to be talking about creatine, what it is exactly. So creatine is actually naturally produced in the body, right? But we hear a lot about in supplementation and this white powder you'll see, right? You can kind of see the residue there. Creatine is a molecule, and during periods of stress, it pairs up with phosphate, becoming phosphocreatine. And it's released during these stressful periods like working out. Okay, and then it aids in the cellular function of your body. But it doesn't just do that, right? The cellular function, what is that? It's a lot of things, and that's why creatine is so awesome and why you should be taking it. Now, this is pretty unusual for me to say, like, you should be taking something, okay? So take this lighthearted. I don't actually mean you should have to take this, okay? But it is a really great supplement. But again, it is a supplement, okay? I actually tell most of my clients they don't need any supplements. We really try to start with whole food. So bring that in first before you start supplementing. I want a cautionary tale there. Okay, now back to the cellular function. So when this phosphocreatine is released into your body, most people know it for adding on strength. Some studies have 12% as a low and high percent in the 20s. Okay, so it's somewhere between 12 and 20%. Now, that's a big number when you think of your strength levels here and you're adding 10, maybe even 20%. That's huge, okay? So just in the strength realm, it's really important. But this creatine supplementation has been shown to not only just help your muscles and the strength, but also your liver, your brains, and your bones, okay? So now we're getting to it. This is why I really I wouldn't feel like I was doing creatine justice without saying it's been shown to increase lean body mass. Now, those studies are more in like the yellow area from what I've seen. What does that mean? Meaning that there's a little, well, not a little, there's a huge correlation between creatine and water intake. And so is that really the water intake playing around with your body fat and your lean muscle tissue, or is that actual lean muscle tissue added on? And that's what really kind of remains to be seen. Some people over here, some people over there. I personally, I don't care. I know that I've been taking creatine and I'm lean, so I'm rolling with it. No, but the correlation, to that is very interesting, but it's not necessarily causation. Okay, so keep that in mind. But again, we've already labeled several really good things about creatine, so don't write it off just yet. Now, this water retention I'm talking about is very common with creatine. It's something you can't escape. So when you are taking creatine, for instance, let's say you're trying to lose weight and you take some creatine and you step on the scale the next day and you realize, oh my gosh, I've gained a couple pounds, or it may not be a couple pounds in a couple days, but something like that. People have been known to gain even 5 pounds off of water retention from the creatine. Creatine isn't making you fat, it's just retaining more water in your muscle, which actually has shown some people to see drastic increases in their size, especially when working out. You get that pump going, but you get a little bit of a muscle inflation, and that's really the water retention. So if you're coming off creatine, you'll notice you'll kind of look like your muscles deflate a little bit, but you're actually losing water out of that muscle. Two biggest reasons I love creatine the most, one being that it's been the most studied supplement out there. Everybody, for the most part, there's always that one guy, agrees that creatine is not only safe, but it's going to enhance cognitive, but also muscle, and like I said, your liver and your bone tissue, okay? So there's not really a disagreement out there. Most people are agreeing on this, and that's why you hear so much about creatine. However, we don't need to get crazy with all the different types of creatine. There's hydrochloride creatine, there's all these other types of creatine. Now, those types of creatine have not had these thousands of studies done on them, okay? When we're talking about studies done on creatine, we're really only talking about monohydrate. Now, there has been studies done on other versions, but nowhere near as many as the monohydrate version, okay? Now, monohydrate, second, is why my favorite, because it's actually super cheap. I know, a supplement that's super cheap. It's really, really hard to believe, right? But it's true. It is actually very cheap. And you'll notice this if you go online and you start looking for creatine. You'll notice a lot of different prices, and then you'll go on labels and you'll see, well, that's because this is in monohydrate, this is hydrochloride, and hydrochloride gets into your bloodstream faster, and blah, 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 blah. All these correlations to it, but not really proven, right? So you really want to just stick with a normal monohydrate. Now, there's a lot of supplement companies now that have created all these different types of creatine, like I was alluding to earlier, okay? You don't need all of that. If you go and look at all the studies, and again, I support examine.com, huge fan. I get a lot of my information from them too, where they combine all of these studies, third-party company combining all these studies, and you'll see that majority of them are on monohydrate creatine. So you're really kind of not only wasting your money, but you're honestly like rolling the dice with a supplement that's been shown works great. So if you're going to get the hydrochloride or what have you, you're kind of rolling the dice. And it's in some very popular supplements right now, I'm not going to lie. And the timing of it too is very important. That's usually a really common question. When should you take the creatine? So really, you can take creatine any time of the day. Okay, some trainers are saying you got to take it right before, during, or after a workout. No, that's not necessarily true. I have not seen conclusive evidence of that. But by all means, if that's when you'd rather take it, go for it. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you're drinking enough water. What is enough water? Well, it's going to be hugely dependent on who you are. How much weight you have, how much fat loss you have, all the goals, lifestyle factors, etc. But for the most part, just make sure you're drinking water throughout the day and you'll be fine, okay? Don't actually think about it in an exact dose. Now, speaking of doses, how much creatine should you take a day? There is the loading phase that some people use. For instance, I like results as fast as possible. I don't know about you. So I used to load my creatine and I would go off of it because I heard it was good going off of it. It's not really true either. You can actually conclusively go on creatine for as long as you want. And again, like I said, you will lose some water retention or gain water retention depending on if you're on it or off of it. Now, taking it forever, obviously, we haven't been studying creatine forever, right? There is no 100-year study on creatine. So that is one thing with all supplements you have to think about. Well, maybe, and some people will go off of it and then come back off of it because of that. They say, well, I don't want my body to get used to it or all that jazz and stop making it endogenously in my body, okay? That's a concern, that's okay. So again, you can go on or off. Loading phase is usually about anywhere from, 2,500, so like 2,500 milligrams to 3,000 milligrams or upwards of 5, but I wouldn't go over 5 per day. And the loading phase would be, consistently more than that for the first week or 2 weeks, depending on who you are. So I would say it's going to depend on body weight again, but, somewhere between 10 and 15, a day on that loading phase. But again, I'm not a huge fan of the loading phase. I don't think it's necessarily needed. But again, if you really want to do that, go for it. I just have loaded before and gotten headaches and not drinking enough water, so it wasn't really worth it. So if you really need the results fast right now, and I get it, you'll definitely notice an increased difference if you double or triple up that serving. Now let's clarify this little tidbit about giving it to babies. I have seen some interesting studies about mothers taking it while they're pregnant. And babies taking it immediately, well, not immediately out of the womb, but in that infant stage and maintaining a really healthy body mass. Some just really interesting stuff out there. Again, you want to do your own research, obviously. I'm not a doctor. I'm just giving you what I've seen. And again, I'm not telling you to give creatine to your babies unless you're positive about it. But I kid you not, when my kid, turns a couple years old, which I don't plan on having kids anytime soon, but when I do, then I will be giving my kid creatine, as I hope that my wife continues to take it and I continue to take it. Not even for the muscle effects, but just the cognitive aspects of it. And like I said, what it does for your bone density also. So really interesting stuff. Creatine is a great supplement, but always remember when we say supplement, we actually mean supplement. You need to get all of this from your whole food first. So creatine is actually in eggs and meats and stuff like that. So if you're not supplementing it, you don't even necessarily need it because one, your body makes it, but two, you're probably eating some foods that already have it in it. So it's not something you need to get too crazy about. It's just so cheap that it's like, why not if you're going to do something? But again, I would definitely say get a multivitamin or fish oil way before you get creatine, okay? I just wanted to do a quick little video on creatine. I hope you liked it. Hey guys, as always, thanks for watching Fit Freaks. I really appreciate it. Any questions below, please feel free. Like this, comment on it, share it, and please always subscribe. I want to know more about you and what I can do for you, so please write me a message, and I would love to help with whatever health and fitness problem you're going through, issue, whatever you got, bring it on. We can figure it out together. Live life, Fit Freaks!